stupendous night of Sci-Fi Vision that presents Fandom Access.
A stupendous
Just me and
night.
Karen again, talking Strange New Worlds and Invasion. No Jamie, but you can see Jamie every other night of the week, so yeah.
I know we see Jamie so often, right? Let's hit it. How's this? There we go. We're both here. Better.
Yep. So what do you want to start with tonight?
Well, I think we should start with Star Trek because it's the season finale, right?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So we're gonna go to Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, episode 10. New what's it called? New planets and new civilizations. New something.
Yeah.
And new planets and new civilizations.
It's a play on
the original series, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a play on what they say in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean they say in the beginning of this show also.
Strange worlds and new civilizations.
Yeah, and you think it's going to be a kick. We know it's not a straight segue into this is a prequel to the original series, and we're not quite there yet. We have another 2 seasons, 1.5 seasons to go, right, before we get there. They did set up a few things that are getting towards it, but in general, it was just a wrap up of this season. How'd you like it as a wrap up of this season?
I enjoyed the episode, but it was it was very thin on her explanation of why she is going to become the Beholder.
The Beholder.
Ark is in the chat. I'm so glad you are back. We are so happy to have you amongst us.
Oh, hello, our fellow Gorn. We have missed you so much. It's been so long, Ark. Great to have you back. I love to hear Ark is a big Star Trek fan. Can't wait to hear your comments tonight. I thought this was I mean, I guess I didn't love it as a wrap up.
The wrap up sucked.
Well, yeah. I mean, this season was all over the place. This season was 10 episodes, and probably 6 of them were kind of standalone, genre bending episodes, right? There was a hologram episode. There was there were so many not hologram, holodeck episode. There were so many there wasn't a ton of through line in this season, right? Yes, they did bring us a bunch of Gorn last week and this week, but it was pretty thin. The wrap up was and then it was very let's say goodbye to Batel, which, look, I love her. I love her character. I love Melanie Scrofano, but I felt how long is this going to go on? This is a 20-minute wrap up of her character, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I
love this episode.
I like the concept and idea of her being the Beholder. I just didn't like the explanation. Oh, because I have the Gorn babies in me and Una's blood and the flower from that other race and whatever the fourth. Oh, and just being human to begin with, it's made me this. I've experienced, all our races have experienced and had to fight pure evil, and that is what has made me. And it's really, it was kind of thin. It was very thin.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't have a problem with the whole, the before coming after or the after coming before the, you know what I mean? The timey-wimey part. I don't have a problem with any of that. Working with the temporal mechanics they've been working with this season, that's fine.
They lost me a little bit also with the whole part about evil, where I think it's what's her name? Her name is come on, Pella. She's oh, what if they really are evil? What if they're totally evil? And someone starts to say well, evil, she's no, really and even I think Melanie says it later, the evil before doing evil, there was just evil. And I think for a show that has very much been about when you meet an aggressive species, they kind of always have a motivation, right? And this episode really spoke to something just being pure evil, which, I never like when they veer into like a little too magical or a little too religious or whatever. And the idea of just evil was maybe not Star Trekky for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, Art feels the only amazing episode was the Gorn, which I don't know if she means the previous episode with Melanie with the Gorn or the first episode of the season where we were dealing with the Gorn.
The first episode was amazing.
Yeah. Because the first episode of the season picked up like 1 minute after last season's finale, right? And we were still dealing with the Gorn attack. This episode was way too relationship driven. Nothing made sense. This episode was all about like putting to bed Pike's relationship with Patel, right?
And I gotta say, I while I understood what they were doing with Pike and Patel and having that, entire lifespan in a matter of minutes, it started out very abrupt because she's all got glowing hands, and then all of a sudden it was like poof, and it was like, wait, what just happened? Did they have an editing issue? There was no transition. It was just straight, which was kind of unsettling.
Yeah. There was no real explanation of like her power. Like she's like, oh, I've got the memory of every species in the whole universe, and like her hands glow.
Ultimately, it was love. The answer was love again.
And you know how much I hate that? How many shows we've been like, well, the answer is love. Like,
yes.
A lot of shows say that. And I'm like, don't tell me that her love for Pike is the reason she overcame Gamble, right? Like that's
but that's exactly what she says to him. Like that life, that lifetime they shared together in the matter of 5 minutes was all she needed to stop him.
Well, so what I don't like about that is it diminishes every other person that they have ever killed. Like their relation, like only the love of Melanie and Pike is enough. Like, I'm sorry, but everybody else who's ever been killed by them maybe had loving relationships, right? Like this is the great love of the universe. That's a little, I don't love that. I don't love that. Right. Like their great love. I mean, I guess it's because she had all the powers of all the hybrids and plus love is what gave it to her, I guess. Right. I just, I don't really feel like theirs is the one great love of the universe that can beat this. Like we saw people who were killed. Like why not? Okay, so Chapel's known her boyfriend for like 5 minutes. Like maybe I get that, but you know me. I just never. We've seen a bunch of shows where the answer is love, and I'm like, oh, really? Come on, do better. And we never see. You're right. We never see. And we can recap this a little bit, but we never see. We see Melanie hands start to glow, but we don't really know why, and we don't really see. We see Gamble have a look of fear in his eyes. Is this Gamble? Actually, yeah, but we never see a fight.
No, it's very anticlimactic.
She just automatically turns. She just like zips them all into like sucks them all back into their prison, and then turns into this guardian statue, right?
I want to put up Art's question here because I took it a little differently. So I don't think it changed his future. I think that I don't think any of that was real. I think that was just, like look at it as a pocket universe where they, she experienced everything while it didn't actually happen, is how I took it. But again, there was a lot of this stuff in this episode that wasn't clear. It was kind of just, here it is. How did you take that, Karen?
Well, I mean, I think, in answer to Ark's question, I don't think you can change Pike's future because we know where he is in the original series, right? Which is canon. And we're going to see him disabled in this rolling chair. And we know, I think the future he saw is still going to happen. This alternate future that Marie saw, I'm not really sure where it came from after watching this. Like, was she imagining it? Who gave her that gift of seeing this, experiencing this? Like Gamble didn't give her that gift because why would he, right?
No. I felt like
she gave it to herself.
I kind of feel like, I feel like she kind of gave it. I feel like she was giving it to Pike because she was
does
going.
He remember it? But she says,
"Oh yeah, he absolutely remembered. At least I took it that he remembered it because when they came out of it, he was like, he had this look on his face like, holy crap, like what the hell was all that? But he doesn't say anything. So again, not the best dialogue episode.
Yeah, no, Ark's not sure. The writers have not been following canon. I mean, the writers have been writing.
They've been playing loosely with it.
Yeah, but I feel like you can't. I mean, the zoo is the pilot episode, right? Where we see Pike as the pilot episode of the original series. I think. I don't see how you get around that. I don't see how you let Pike not become who he is. The Cage. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. The Cage, right? Thank you, AJ. I don't see how you get around that and don't let that happen. This is their episode where they did it. This is the episode where they wrote around it. He's gonna go there, I think. Another issue I have is, look, I like Marie Battelle. I like Marie and Pike a lot. I really like them a lot. I think they gave her a goodbye that is out of weight with who her character. She's a supporting character, and they gave her a goodbye that is bigger than most like stars would ever get. Right? Like I'm like, wow, they gave a huge goodbye to Marie. I know that it's partly about Pike, but I was like, really? We just spent like 5 full minutes seeing this.
Well,
I didn't like it.
I'll say this. They gave her an out, short of killing her, that didn't leave any questions about her coming back. Because if she just goes and becomes the head of judicial, she could show back up at any time.
Right. And she's frozen as this thingy that we see in this picture, the beholder or whatever it is, right? That's her now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see Marie have a bigger role than just be the head of JAG, right? And I agree with you that there's no question that their relationship is over. We've talked a lot about how a bunch of relationships on the show are not going anywhere because of where the series goes in the original series. So I get it. This was just a little too I don't know. This was very woo-woo, this whole episode, right?
Well, here's something funny, because in a second we're going to talk about the best part of the episode. But before that, when her hands started glowing, like they did, I was like, "Oh, look, she's regenerating."
Oh yeah, yeah. There's not a picture of that, but I get that. Yeah.
Which is my segue into Pelia's comment earlier when they're having dinner. Another Doctor Who reference. So yes, Ark, we did catch the Doctor Who reference, and it's funny, Karen. I had already seen the episode when you sent me that text today, and so I caught it on my own this time, because this was a little more obvious when she says, "Remind me to tell you about the time I spent with the time traveling doctor once."
Yeah, yeah. That's twice in 3 weeks. There's a Doctor Who reference. I love it. I loved it.
Yeah, Ark, did you see the TARDIS in the episode where the ship ate them?
I'm sure Ark must have seen that.
He probably did.
She'll come in a minute. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I tell you, week to week, Pelia always has the best lines because she's lived for thousands of years. So I love all her pop culture references.
Oh yeah, she's great. I mean, I did like this episode. I like the beginning where they're having this dinner. Pike's hair. I just love looking at Pike's hair every week. It gets taller. It's weird. Look at his hair in this shot, right? Like, what is he doing?
Still not as good as his Vulcan hair.
It's not as good as Vulcan hair, and it's not as good as his hair. Where's the picture of his hair near the end? I have a picture of him. Oh my God, where's his old man picture?
Oh.
And he had, before this one, he had like mullet hair. His hair gets real long down the back.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of haircuts in this episode.
So I have a question though, because who is their daughter's fiance supposed? Who's his father supposed to be?
I'm not sure. His name is Eli, and they say like they seem to know the father. And
It was Adele or something. Like I was waiting for them to say how's Joseph, you know?
No, I think his father is Admiral April, who's the guy that was the captain before Pike, right?
Oh, is that who it's supposed to be? Okay, because they said the name, and I was like, he's like, Admiral April sends his regards, and I'm like, who the hell's Admiral April? I thought it was going to be like, like Joseph, find out that Mbenga had a kid, and that's who she hooked up with.
Well, I thought so too, because I was like, well, does he look like Mbenga? Who is he? But his name is Eli. When he says like Admiral April, then I'm like, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. It was a weird connection they made there, so whatever.
Yeah.
So
I'm not really sure that it really matters that much, but
no, it doesn't. I was just curious if you understood who the hell that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, after seeing this episode, it makes sense why they, that article you sent me today about them apologizing for the uneven season 3.
I was kind of surprised how many outlets, they must have done a big roundtable, because I saw like 5 or 6 different outlets had the story today where the producers promised next season would be better. I do agree. I mean, you and I have talked week after week that, standalone, the episodes maybe are fine, but as a season, were they great? Not a great season, right?
As an overall, as I'm saying, as an overall season, it didn't really, like we've said all along, it hasn't had the overarching story except for a couple episodes here and there. Like this, kind of has been throughout, kind of, sort of. It's just been a more case of really great individual moments. I actually really liked the first episode with the Vesda. I really enjoyed that episode on its own to begin with. I was upset to see Gamble go because I liked him as a new character. And there's been like the holodeck episode was very reminiscent of the one they did with Data in TNG, so that was okay. I feel like, I know, what's her face? La'an, the actress was a professional dancer before she continued acting. I just feel like they laid too heavily into everything was dancing with her this season. Like that's how how Spock brought her out of her wanting to stay Vulcan.
Yeah, and
that was another great episode. Like, that was really funny. So I guess there's moments throughout the season.
I mean, so how did you like this as an episode in its own right, where they have to? Okay, I'm skipping ahead, but they have to go down to this planet, because. Okay, so what happens is that it turns out that I forget what their name is, these aliens who are in prison, managed to reconstitute Gamble from the medical transporter buffer and transport him down to the planet. And they basically like recreated him, which it's always a little weird to me about this whole business with the buffer. And if you're in there, but you're dead, but you can be recreated. Like it's almost like a replicator of a human, right?
Well, I felt like more like it's a shapeshifter. Like it created his, it just created the body. It's not, it's not Gamble. Right.
So he goes down and he becomes almost like a god to these people, right? And they go.
I called it, it's funny. I couldn't remember the name of the people either. So I just called it the people who stab themselves in the eyes.
Well, there's not a picture of that, but it really reminded me. You're not watching Foundation, right? Like in Foundation, there was a guy this season. In Foundation, there's a bunch of people called Mentalics, and they can like control your mind. And there's a guy in Foundation who makes everybody love him. He comes to a planet and everybody loves him and everybody does everything he says. And if he like makes you think you want to put your eyes out, you put your eyes out. It was exactly like that. I mean, I know it's not. This was written 2 years ago. They're not copying that. It's a totally different thing. But he goes down there. He takes control. People are worshiping him. And he really wants to go through this portal so he can go, which is like, they explain how it's a direct line. He basically goes through here and you go back to the Vedic prison where they were like 5 episodes ago, right? It's kind of cool. Yeah. But it's like a little portal back there. And that's where like a lot of the action takes place. And
I like when Sam's talking about the ley lines and Spock just gives him this look like, really? And Sam's like, they're real.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's not Sam, that's Spock, but that's Kirk, but James.
No, that's Kirk. Yeah,
they're both. Yeah,
yeah. That was fun. That was fun when they were mind melded. That was kind of interesting.
It was fun. I mean, there's a little much like going through here, like you know how like Gamble like he has to go through with Mbenga, but it never really makes any sense why it has to be Mbenga.
Because,
right? He immediately is going to discard Mbenga, and he right? Did you get that?
Oh, Ark didn't like the mind meld. I thought that was funny. The part with Mbenga, Mbenga says why he had to. Something about him introducing Gamble to something. I should have paid more attention. But it was such a dumb... It was another very thin, flimsy answer to why it had to be Mbenga.
Yeah, I mean, Gamble is very powerful. He's possessed... He's not
possessed. Maybe it's because Mbenga's the one that had the code to put them in the buffer or something. I don't
know, like why it doesn't really make any sense because of blah blah blah, because of sciencey fake science blah blah. It has to be Mbenga. They go through. Next thing you know, like for the next two to go through, for these two to go through, here they are actually standing there.
I do appreciate
the whole
her
phase
though.
This, right?
Yeah, I appreciate her earlier in the episode though when she's like, the last time we walked through a portal like this, we almost spent eternity there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad she pointed that out and wasn't so willing to try again.
Yeah. So it also didn't really make sense to me, this business with if the two ships can fire at the same time, but like phaser arrays aren't additive, they're complementary and blah, blah. Anyway, they have to like be totally in time. And it's this excuse for this Kirk and Spock mind meld, which Ark didn't like, right? The mind meld with Kirk was so stupid. I kind of agree that it, was it really necessary for them to align the two ships to shoot together? No, I think they were using it as, are they using it as the basis for their future friendship, which is unnecessary, right? Like after this mind meld, we see them playing chess, and then later, at the end of the episode, we're going to remain friends. And it's the beginning, it's like Casablanca. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. But did a mind meld have to be is the mind meld the basis of that? That's what I got from it. I don't know if
hold on. I want to put Ark's other comment up because I agree with this. The first part, how on earth can you stay connected on two different ships? I kind of wondered about that too. I mean, through the era of Star Trek, I don't usually mind melds are for an instant, and this was extended. The only other time a mind meld has been a little more intricate is in The Wrath of Khan when Spock mind melds with Kirk with McCoy and puts his memories in McCoy so that they can resurrect him in Star Trek 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree that part of it. I guess I kind of I did think about it, but then I was just like, this is fun. I'm gonna ignore it.
They have this mind meld right now, but they managed to stay connected and in sync for minutes or even hours by the time he goes back to his ship and this whole thing happens, right? It's a little kind of much if you're a Star Trek person, right?
Hey, Fletch.
I get that. And I guess for those of us who've watched Kirk and Spock's friendship over seasons and movies and decades, right? Like, really, is this how it started with a mind meld? Wow. Like I guess I always kind of thought it happened more organically, but I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it, right? Of all the things that happened in this episode that I don't love, that might be the least of them, because I don't love a lot of what happened here. You know, I don't love a ton of this whole, it was just too much with no explanation, right?
I got to say one thing, though. I was kind of appreciative. Usually when somebody's like, I'm going with you, they're always like, no, you're not. It's too dangerous. I have to go alone. She didn't argue with him. He said, I'm going with you. And she said, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He's like, I'm going to go with you. And she's like, okay. She never says anything. They just next scene.
Yeah, she didn't say anything. Right? She kind of nods and agrees. And
I mean, I did like that. We see them together.
I'm just saying that was, it's different. You know what I mean? That's
yeah. They have their, what is this a picture of? Oh, that's a later picture. But they have their whole like along. So Paramount did not give us a lot of photographs of their life, but we see that they end up like being together, getting married, having a kid, going through a lot of stuff. And when Pike goes on the mission that we know is the mission that everything goes wrong with the cadets, that ends up sending him to his fate, it never happens. And we're kind of wondering, but we knew it was fake. Like, I knew it was fake. We all knew it was fake, right? Like, there's that knock on the door that we keep hearing, and that's somebody or something. We know it's not real. I mean,
it was an opportunity.
Can they write around canon? Yeah. Can they make him not die and give over the captain seat to Kirk? No, that they can't work around that.
Let's put it this way: if they were to do that, then this is not the prime timeline,
which would be really annoying. And I'm not sure I could watch the show. I don't really like shows that are on separate timelines.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, they played a little fast and loose with canon, but I don't foresee them playing that fast and loose with it. Like I mean, a lot of people on the Enterprise right now shouldn't be there. Uhura shouldn't be there. Scotty shouldn't be there.
But he showed up and is killed. Like, he's got to be there, right? But he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there, depending upon what shows and movies we accept as canon.
Right.
Right.
I mean, we've already got one alternate universe. I don't need another one. But and that's the thing.
The whole Chris Pine, J.J. Abrams thing is an alternate timeline.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if they didn't stick at least to the big points, which Pike dying, Pike not dying, but Pike being badly, mortally injured. If they don't stick to that, then it's an alternate timeline, and that makes Discovery a different timeline, and it just really, it's headed where it's headed. You know what I mean?
Well, these two also, and by the way, I tried to put this picture in because I loved her red French braids. But at the end of the episode, Pike has a voiceover. Pike, or no, is it somebody has a voiceover about saying goodbye? I guess maybe it's
It was Pike, wasn't it?
Yeah, he has an episode about he has a voiceover about saying goodbye, and I think there's a thing about never seeing each other again, and they show these two together, and we see that I forget the boyfriend's name. I should know it because he's Roger. Roger's like, I'm going to stay on this planet because there's so much to explore. And she's going to go, Chapel's going to go off on the, I mean, at the end of this, they say like, how much data is there? There's enough for a 5-year mission. Like, they are implying that this is the beginning of the voyage of the Starship Enterprise, right? That we saw in the original series. But there's a remark where he says something about never seeing each other again, and Roger's leaving and Chapel staying, and I feel like maybe this is the end of these two, because we know what happens in the original series. Like, she hasn't seen him in the original series. We talked about this last week. Like, she has not seen him for 5 years when she bumps into him, and he's like made X, Y, and Z discoveries and turned into this person. I think they're done. I think we might not see him again. I don't really mind if
I
we
don't
see
think
him
so.
again, because I don't think these two, I don't buy them together. I just never, I mean,
no, I didn't either.
They don't have the spark or the chemistry, or I just have never believed that she met him and 3 months later comes back, and like, they just don't do it for me.
They did not have the same chemistry that her and Spock did.
Spock, right? Yeah. So I just
and to be fair, I don't think Spock and Lon have much chemistry either.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go back to, let me change the picture here. Ark is trying to make a point, like we talked about canon. Well, maybe Pike will be injured in a totally different way. I get that. Like, so we're saying like Pike has to be injured by the time of the cage, by the opening of the original series. But Ark is right. It doesn't have to happen maybe the way that he was told it would happen, the vision that he saw, right? I get that. They can work around that in a totally different way, or maybe in a somewhat
way, right? I think it would be a bad idea to do that, though.
Yeah.
I especially considering she has a line in this episode, when she's like, this is my destiny, becoming the beholder,
Yeah.
So I think if you're talking destiny, I think, given that we already know Pike's destiny, and hell, Pike knows his destiny.
I would have liked a little bit. She says, this is my destiny. And she's like, do you know how I've been telling you, like, being a starship captain doesn't feel right, and being like the head of JAG doesn't feel right, and this is my thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. You never.
When did you tell us that?
You never said none of it felt right. Like, you want, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know how I've been trying to fit in, how nothing feels right? I'm like, no, I don't know that, because that never happened.
This is the first we're hearing of it.
Yeah. It was a little,
yeah.
Yeah. So if you saw a lot of headlines today, I mean, I was kind of shocked to see headlines where they're like, executive producer says next season will be better. I'm like, wait, what? And apparently, what they're saying in these articles, which you might have seen on some of our sites, that I saw it on Screen Rant, I saw it on Gizmodo, I saw it in other places. And they, the creators, the producers, whoever, had said, like, well, the writers, I had forgotten, like, this is airing in 2025. It was written in 2023, probably, right? And there was the writer's strike, and there was a bunch of other stuff, labor disputes. There was the writer's strike, there was the director's strike, and they attribute it to having to start and stop and start the writer's room like a couple of times. And that makes it hard to write a coherent season. And I guess I understand that. Part of me gets it. Part of me is like, wah, 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 wah.
Our question on how it gets better with Muppets.
Right, yeah.
I keep forgetting about the Muppet episode.
The Muppet episode, yeah.
See, it depends, that works on some shows, and it depends on the story, how, the vein of it. Like, they did it on Legends of Tomorrow once, and it worked, but that was also a very different type of show.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about this. We keep talking about how they're playing fast and loose with some of the characters. I hadn't thought about that. Chapel is just supposed to be a nurse. She's right. She's not like leading missions. She's a scientist.
Oh yeah. She's a nurse, and yet she's like I mean, you could be a genius nurse, I guess, but there are times where she's almost smarter than, she could be smart, but, and then she goes to, she leads missions. She leads away missions. She does other missions. She goes away on a fellowship for 3 months, comes back with this guy. She's like yeah.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? It's hard doing prequels on futuristic shows sometimes, because the technology now in the show is so much more advanced than the original series.
Of course. And I think also, come on, the way we think about women on a show and on a ship and as a nurse, right? Like she was a woman in a short skirt, and she was a nurse, but she was, she was just like McCoy.
Yeah, I mean, the original series 66.
She was forced to kiss Kirk a couple times, and that show came out at a time where
everybody had to kiss Kirk a couple times, including Spock. Come on.
Yeah. Yes. And a nurse could not have the kind of agency that Chapel has. And so I appreciate the way that Strange New Worlds is giving not just Chapel, but also Uhura and maybe some other characters in the show. Like Uhura also was a woman that just sat there and was like, I have an incoming message, Captain, right? I love that they're giving these women a greater role on a more realistic, maybe kind of a ship as we understand it now. But on the other hand, like Ark's right, like she's a nurse and she's like smarter than Spock, and she tells Spock what to do. She rank means nothing on this ship. Rank means nothing on the ship. They're just all like, what? Shut up. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I get it, but I kind of don't get it sometimes.
Well, I mean, look at her. She's an ensign.
Oh my God. And she was like, no, Captain, we're doing this. I'm going to run 1,000 simulations, and Spock, you're going to help me. Right. And they're like, yes, okay, it's your best friend. We'll go with it. Yeah, she's an ensign. Ensign's like the lowest level of officer, right?
You know what's funny is the only one that's ever like really like tries to like still like follow protocol and run the letter of the law is Una. Una's constantly like, we got to, like the episode they're trying to find Erica, and Una's like, okay, we really got to go now, and Pike's like, yeah, in a minute.
Yeah, Una's very by the book.
Yeah.
I actually noticed at the very end of this episode, and I don't really have I'm looking at my assets here. I don't have a picture of Erica. I'll just go to Pelia because I love her. But at the very end of the episode where they're getting ready to go on their next mission, and there's a question of like, Erica says, are you going to say hit it? We all like hit it. What should we do? And Pike says, okay, well, take us out as fast as you want, Erica. And she says, like, okay, you asked for it. And I'm like, wow, they're using first names. Like he calls her Erica. He doesn't say like Ensign Ortegas, or is she Lieutenant Ortegas, I guess.
They use first names a lot this season.
I've never been in the military, but isn't that kind of a no-no in the military, right? Like,
no, you can. I mean, you can. I mean, it's just unusual. I mean,
at least you won't say an ensign like a certain.
Yeah, I was just chuckling out a minute ago. Poor Harry.
He was an ensign forever, and he was the smartest guy on the ship. Pretty smart guy on the ship. Yeah. I mean, I think so. We're all agreeing here that like we just didn't really love this. We didn't love this episode, and we didn't love this season. Maybe, right? Like this episode was all over. It was a little too woo-woo for me. It was woo-woo, like I said, right?
There were some great moments, and there were some episodes. I mean, the premiere was amazing.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
Well.
And there's been some good stuff throughout the season. There's been some episodes like I said before. I liked the episode where the Vesda were introduced.
Wait, you're a little muffled, AJ.
I had my hand on the corner of my computer, which it was where the microphone is.
Oh,
I was adjusting my computer. I liked the first episode of the season, which was amazing, and I liked the episode where they introduced the Vesda. I thought that was a really cool episode. It just didn't pan out. There was at least actual action in that episode. Marie fought Gable.
Yeah.
This, her hands glowed, his hands went dark and swirled, and that was the whole fight.
Yeah, it was really very anticlimactic.
Yes.
We got there from. How do we so these two, where's my picture of my so these two are done. She's gone. She turned into like a swirly statue. She's gone. I think these two might be done, right? Like I think Roger's gone.
Roger's gone.
Roger's gone. That leaves us.
We won't see him again until he's in a cave.
Yeah, and with his robots or whatever, and that leaves us with Spock and La'an, who also like aren't going anywhere because Spock doesn't end up having a relationship with her in future. I'm not sure how much I love that. Like I like them, I don't like them.
I did not. I said right off the jump, Christine came back with a boyfriend, fine, whatever. I understood why they did that. Spock and La'an starting a relationship almost immediately after really threw me because he's standing at the teleporter with flowers in his hand, ready to profess his undying love to her and saying, "I'm glad you're back." And oh, she has a boyfriend. All right, hey, yeah, exactly. Like, he was so in love with Chapel, and then it's like, "Hey, Leon, what's your phone number?"
And they're so different. He's such a creature. She's so. I mean, I get how they're kind of the same. That she tries to be controlled, but she's actually very passionate, right? And also her Kirk thing, like she,
Yeah. I mean,
Kirk. All Kirk is the great love of her life, probably, right?
I don't. Yeah, I just don't understand. This pairing of these two. I don't understand I don't know at what point Star Trek became all about couples. Even Uhura dating Erica's brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like the little nod to her and Scotty though. There was that little flirtation and made him all uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I mean, the Next Generation had like Beverly and Picard were very will they or won't they?
Yes.
Right. And then there was like Deanna and Will got together on Next Generation. And
but that was over how many seasons was that? 7?
A lot of seasons, yeah. And there's Michael Burnham and Book, and there's there are
been relationships, but like this all has happened in one season. All right, yeah, Marie and Pike have been together since the beginning, fine. But the rest of it is just kind of.
So look at Ark saying, I saw it coming several episodes ago before Spock. Spock is actually a playboy till he had a great loss. Don't forget that. A playboy. Yeah, I can see it, right? He's dated already like a couple people on the show. Spock's a playboy. Ladies like Spock.
Years.
I mean, I'm not that Ethan Peck is not an attractive man, but yeah, he's Spock. Yeah. Playboy. His part human is always going to be attracted to human women, I guess. So we're going to have to wait like at least a year probably for the next season, right?
Well, didn't they film season 4 already?
They're filming 4 and 5 together, I think, right?
Oh, is it 4 and 5 they're filming together?
3 and 4, or is it 4 and 5? I think they're shooting 4
I thought it was 3 and 4. I thought 3 and 4 got filmed.
I think it's
4. He's a ladies' man like his dad.
I think they're shooting 4 because 5 is a little happy season, right? They're going to be like 10 and then like 5. I think they're shooting 4 and 5 together, right? I think they're in production right now. I mean, obviously 2025, it's already September.
Yeah, Ark's agreeing with me. She's saying 4 is done.
4 is done? All right, and so they're just finishing up 5. So still 2026, maybe not that long. So one thing about this season is that it doesn't end up like last season ended on this like amazing kind of a. We're gonna be on the screen now. AJ, give me a second. It ended on this big kind of cliffhanger where it was in the middle of the Gorn battle. It ends right, and then this season doesn't end on any kind of a cliffhanger. Like I don't really know.
It ends on a happy. It ended at. Well, I won't say happy note because
a bittersweet note. A bittersweet note.
Yeah, bittersweet sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not really waiting to see what happens with anyone next season. Right? They left me a little like. I mean, I'm waiting because I like a lot of the characters, but there's not really anything that I'm like, oh, what's up next? What's going to happen next, right? Like this whole bit of like whether Pike dies or doesn't die, but whether he has this accident with the kids is not really that big a deal with the cadets. It's not, there's nothing I'm really waiting for. They left us in a, I don't know, a lot of people hate cliffhangers. Jamie hates a cliffhanger, right? Jamie hates a cliffhanger. And they leave us one. So I don't know I don't have anybody get any thoughts that they want to see next season. I don't really.
No idea.
I'm not really sure what to expect. I hope it comes back soon. I mean, I still like the show. We've been very critical tonight. I do like this show. Right? It is one of my favorite Star Treks. If I had to rank all the Star Treks, this would be up there, right? Up there. I like this.
Especially the modern era Star Treks. It's definitely the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been very critical and very. I mean, I don't think I was that bad. I can be a lot worse, right?
No. We're not going to love everything.
Yeah, I like the show. Not the best season. So we got another comment here from, what do we have here? Did you hear the release date for Starfleet Academy? No, really. Starfleet. I'm really excited for Starfleet Academy. That might be my new favorite. So if we release date, that would be sometime, I hope in the next 6 months, maybe, Arc. That's exciting. I'm really looking forward to that show.
I'm excited for it, but I'm also just a little disappointed with it.
Really? Why?
Because, well, when they first early 2026 is when it's coming out.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's yet to be seen, but when they first introduced the spinoff, they heavily implied that the show was going to be based around Tilly.
Yes.
And then they've added all these big names to it since then. And I feel like Tilly is going to be featured less than she was in Discovery.
That's too bad because she's a fan.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they added Holly Hunter and I forget who else they've added to the cat. There was somebody else they added.
Yeah, and a lot of people. Yeah.
But I felt like, it really felt like this was like, going to be Tilly's thing. And then I feel like they were like, we need some bigger names.
Yeah. And that, I kind of like the idea that, so Tilly's one of the people that's set in kind of the future. It's set in the Discovery timeline where it's a reconstitution of Starfleet. I think more, not a reconstitution, but Starfleet is not what it in the future. Starfleet is not what it was, right?
Right.
I like the idea, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, and that'll be maybe what we get in between. So they're not gonna, if that comes out, they're not gonna we'll get Discovery after that, right? You get Starfleet Academy, and then just look at get it later. So, well, that's exciting, but. Any more comments about this before we move on? We got one more show to talk about.
No, I think we can finally continue on.
All right. So we have one more show tonight, which is Invasion. This was episode 4, which is called The Mission. 4 of 10. How did you like this episode, AJ?
I felt like it was very set up-y.
Wait, we've been saying that for 4 episodes now, right?
I felt like last week's stuff happened. I thought last week was really good. I felt like the premiere was set up-y. The second episode was pretty good. I feel like right now Trevante's just making the rounds, meeting everybody, because now he's finally met Mitski.
Well, I mean, this season is about bringing everybody together in some way, right? I feel like, I don't know if this is the final season. I really don't. I think there's one more, right? Are they talking about 4 seasons maybe?
I know they wanted to do at least 4.
Mm-hmm.
Casper, did you know he was dead? Because they told us about 18 times in this episode that Casper is dead.
Which makes me think he's not dead, right? That makes you think he's not dead.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, I just want to Arc up real quick. Good night, Arc. Thank you for coming. We'll talk later.
All right. Thanks, Arc, for coming by. Everybody else, feel free to jump in here in the chat with us.
Especially especially Fletch, because he was apparently disappointed with this.
Oh yeah, Fletch was disappointed also. Didn't make a lot of comments. So you're right that they keep talking about how Casper's dead, and I just feel like he's not dead, and I think that Billy Barrett is still listed among the cast. He's not appearing in the episode because in every episode they only show who's in it in the cast.
Right.
But I think Billy Barrett is still listed like as a member of the cast. I just feel like there's no way if Travante can come back, can't Casper somehow come back? And like, yes, we're told that Jamila saw him die. Here's Jamila, but did she really see him die? Right? We don't really know.
Like I said, Travante says that this creature killed him, but he wasn't physically there. Like he wasn't like Travante. Travante was physically there.
Yeah, Travante was there. Casper, right? Casper was mentally there.
Casper was astral projecting. His body was with Jamila, and I've been saying all along that they've got Casper's body on ice somewhere in a freezer at the FBI where we played Prison Break.
Yeah.
Maybe not that FBI place, but some military facility has Casper's body.
Yeah. Although he could be like unconscious or something, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, whether they have him in stasis or he's been in a coma for the last 2 years, whatever the case is.
I mean, to be fair, he already spent like most of an entire season in a coma, and I really don't want to see him like be in a coma again, because that's really like, who wants to see one of your characters be in a coma all the time, right? But
to be fair, at least this time, if that's the case, he's off screen, being implied dead.
Yeah.
Before it was storyline dictated.
Yeah.
We don't need to actually see him for them to be like, this poor kid was in a coma again.
Yeah. So in this episode, like Travante is brought, he and finally Mitski come to the same place, and they're brought together. And they're going to be like, going on a mission together. There's so much about this episode that there's some things I like. There's a lot that not that I don't like. Sometimes when I don't like things about a show, that doesn't make it bad. Like there are things I don't like, which include like this person who I only have a very small picture of him, but right, there's some really, and of course Nikhil. I have a picture of Nikhil, but Nikhil's a gigantic asshole, and he has a giant part in this episode, right? Like I hate him, and like so he's terrible, but he's actually a good part of the episode also, right? Like.
I thought Mitski was going to punch him when she realized where they were.
Oh my god!
I'm talking about Nikhil. Like when she was yelling at Nikhil for bringing her there, and he's like, "Well," he's like, "Your fugue states have been getting worse." He's like, "I had to bring you here." Oh, here, by the way, here's a dampener. She's like, "Oh, so you want to control me like you do the hunter killers?"
Oh yeah, right. And she's like, "No, get that away from me. I don't want that." Right. And so this guy's name is Hollander, right? Like I didn't have a big shot. I didn't want to like Hollander.
They make him worse every week.
Right? Like he reminds me a little bit, AJ, of when we watched the last season of Snowpiercer, and Clark Gregg played this.
Oh man.
Right? He played
I think Clark Gregg's character was actually worse, I think. But
he was worse, but this guy's kind of like him. He's like this guy is sort of a very typical military.
He's not even military though. He's like an advisor.
No, he's civilian, right? He's a civilian who's like allowed to command military, and he's extra military. And he's like, oh, if you don't, and he's so he's almost cartoony. Like when Mitski gets off she comes off the helicopter and she loses her shit. She's like, I said I would never come back here, Nikhil. I'm going to kill you, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, just like old times, welcome home, or something like that, he says, right? And don't you just want to like punch the guy in the face? But it's very, like I felt in that moment they took away any motivation for his character that I could understand. Like I could maybe get like, I'm sorry, but aliens were attacking and we had to know what you know. And there's that, but then he's like, he enjoyed, like there's that sadistic streak in him that they brought out in this and previous episodes, right? And that makes it hard for me to like appreciate his character, or all I want is for him to be killed as soon as possible, right?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, even though Nikhil is somebody we want to string up by their toenails, even him, it's like, you know, he's like, Nikhil's like, I'm not going. He's like, you are if you don't want to be locked in a cell. Like, he's just, Hollander's just the worst.
Nikhil has a tiny bit of humanity, and Hollander is the worst. And when he says like, oh, welcome back, I'm like, oh my God, not only was she tortured, and you're not even like, I'm sorry, but it was necessary. You're like, oh, we're going to do it again. Like, he's I hate that guy. God, I hate that guy. And it's not kind of like this show. Like, we haven't had a, I don't know, like give this guy a mustache. Right? He's a little cartoony.
More hated. Honestly, he's more hated than the aliens.
Aliens? He is, right? I really hate him. And I don't, I found him to be over the top, I guess, in this episode, and the previous episode, and every scene that he's in. I find him to be a little more than I. So he's a horrible addition. Well, he's a horrible human. I shouldn't say he's a horrible addition. He's just I guess he's trying to justify that he thinks we need people like him to survive an alien.
Well, yeah.
Invasion. I find him to be just a little bit too much.
Yeah, well,
how Golden Child says, how did he not see that punch coming?
It's almost like he welcomed it.
Yeah. He almost does relish it a little bit, right? And poor Mitski, like she's trying to, I mean, where is she? Do I have her? I mean, I guess this is all, where is her picture? I mean, she is only there because she can't really, I mean, she tried to go off the grid. We saw that in the earlier episodes. She can't live or tolerate this anymore. She needs to see it through to its end, right? That's why she's here. And we find out more and more in this episode about how she was treated, how she was really experimented on and tortured to a degree, right?
Yeah, I tell you, those flashbacks, it was like, holy crap.
It seemed like she was like awake and they were like cutting her neck open and shit, right? It was really
I thought she was awake.
Yeah. And Hollander, and not just Hollander, but some of the other people who are around are like, yeah, whatever way to do it, right? I mean, so this shot right here shows all the alien portals that are reopening. And I get that stuff is bad, but like at what point do we torture our own people to find the answers, right?
Apparently now. Apparently now is the point.
Probably this is that moment.
I'll tell you what, though. One thing I would have done, I mean, I'm not surprised that Travante was like, sign me up, I'll go. Because I don't think Travante would care if he died at this point. I think he's so over it that he's like, I'm either going to save the world or I'm going to get taken out. Either way, I'm done. You know? So
I agree with you. I'm not sure that I think, and I would hear if Golden Child and other people in the chat want to say something, but I don't think that Travante has a death wish per se.
No, not exactly.
He doesn't want to die, but you're saying he doesn't care if he dies. Like it's his own death is a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, he's just either way, he's done with this crap. Either they win or they don't come back.
Well,
And it's over either way.
I think he's in a lot of pain, and he
Right.
has an
And that's the
inability
thing.
to go ahead.
I mean, like, I wish they had found. Like, I hope everybody on that chopper is the worst of the worst. I hope they're because then it's like, you know what? Go ahead, send them, because if they don't die, that's fine. Like that jack off that started messing with Travante on the chopper, and he's like, "Yeah, we're just going to clean up his mess because he didn't get it done right the first time." Yeah, buddy, where the fuck were you the first time?
You know
Not
what?
there.
I couldn't believe that. There's also a scene where this young guy says to Travante, "Oh, Mister whatever his name is, Travante.
Well, he was calling him sir.
Sir, it's such an honor to meet you, sir, and I'm really excited to go on a mission with you." And later, his friend says, like, "Oh my God," his colleague says, "Your head is so far up his ass. How can you breathe?" Blah blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't he supposedly like the greatest man on the planet who gave his like? He has action figures. He like,
yeah.
When did he become this guy that suddenly like guys in special forces disrespect him? Like, of all people, I think special forces would honor Travante, right? And these guys are assholes.
Yeah,
they're like really mean
because he came back, and so did the aliens. So they're like,
choice, and these guys act like they have no trauma and they don't understand that Travante would be like, I don't get it. These guys just joined special forces like a week ago, and they don't really understand that. Like, these guys are jerks.
I mean, look who they work for.
They were for Hollander. I mean, I also think it's common in shows to make military guys be kind of jerks, like they were last year, like with the movement, right? That the movement was like trying to help people when the military was not, and it's not uncommon for especially apocalypse shows to kind of denigrate the military, and I get it. I don't think the military would always necessarily be bad, but they're always bad in shows. I mean, Golden Child says that Travante is just willing to risk his life for any type of payback he can get. I agree. He's just like, whatever it takes. If I can help take these guys out. I think the loss of Casper really motivates him a lot, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I was kind of surprised and didn't really agree with. Well, look, don't agree with. I'm not a writer. The way that the military guys in this scene were so like not supportive of Travante.
Well, it was only two of them that we saw that really weren't.
All right, but it's 2 out of like 5.
Yeah,
I saw 3 didn't speak, right?
Yeah, nobody else said anything. Yeah. But I think I feel like that's kind of the general consensus of a bunch of them. But some people got to be jerks just to be jerks.
Well, and Travante's been treated badly from the beginning. Like, I don't know, a picture of that first guy that was like, "Oh, Travante, when you first came out of the portal, I didn't believe you, but now I do." And this other random woman in the background, she's like, "Well, Travante, this is what happens with PTSD." I'm like, stop telling me it's PTSD.
Yeah, I know. I actually yelled at the TV too. I actually yelled at her too. I said, "It's not PTSD." Like the other guy, like the fucking general just said, "You're right."
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, it's PTSD." And like, also, wouldn't pretty much every single person who's still alive have PTSD? I mean, I guess maybe you managed to live in a place where the aliens didn't come and kill your neighbors, but pretty much everyone as a species, we have PTSD right now, right? And to be like, oh, and you just like AJ, like he just popped out of a portal. He was with the aliens for years. He pops out of a portal and like, "Oh, you don't know anything. You have PTSD." Wait, what? He
after 2 years.
Portal.
Yeah, and It's been 2 years.
And he was with the aliens. And like, "Oh, you don't know shit about aliens. You have PTSD." Wait, what? What are you even talking about? I don't really. That part of the story is a little difficult for me.
Well, I mean, he really. Well, to be fair, he doesn't remember anything.
No, but like, it's not like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So
like in this scene here, I like when he plays. He's like, "So if we play it again, you might remember something else." And he's like, "Here you go." And not for nothing, even with me, when they played that, the sound wave, it felt different. Like it didn't have the same they might be playing the sound wave, but it doesn't have the right something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have that alien quality to it. Like it sounds
Yeah.
like somebody,
Yeah.
it sounds like somebody made a recording off the radio and then played it back, and it's not going to sound the same.
I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, is there a part of the show that's about the government not wanting to believe him? Like, so we've had quiet for 2 years, and now Giovanni comes back and he's like, oh my God, the aliens, there's something going on. I don't get it, but I don't know. And I could see why maybe parts of the government don't want to disturb society, right? But he spent 2 years with the aliens and he came back and he's like, I'm telling you something. Like, what? Didn't we already learn once before to watch out for aliens? Now they don't want to, like, I would like to see this show in the next couple of weeks help me understand more of the thinking coming from the very top levels of government and why you would not treat Trevante Cole like he knows something. Anyway, they are now Hollander's treating. Hollander's like, guess what? We're going to the dead zone. They're going literally to the dead zone, right? And he's like, sorry, Trevante, you got to go. Mitski, you got to
go. I'm surprised Hollander's going.
Because he's kind of weaselly, right? Like, why would he go? What does he offer?
Yeah.
He's just a random civilian with no particular knowledge, and he's not like a special officers guy like some of these guys are. He's just a random, like, bureaucrat kind of spy-ish kind of guy, right?
Yeah, with nobody having come back from the dead zone, I'm really surprised that this guy would put himself in the dead zone like that. Like, I picture him sitting back at ops on the radio yelling at people.
We can only hope that he might not come back because he's the worst.
Oh, God, yeah.
And yet people who are the worst sometimes are the ones who survive, right? But he's the worst. They're going to the dead zone. There's this scene where, like, he's like, we're going to the dead zone. And everybody's like, what? We're not going to the dead zone. And Trevante's like, I'll go. I'm going. I'll go. Immediately, he's like, I'll go to the dead zone. I don't care. I got to check this shit out. I got to figure it out.
And Mitski is like, I'm not going. Screw you. Try and make me. And then she ends up showing up.
Yeah. She's like, I won't go. And Nikhil is trying to convince her. Nikhil ends up having to go also, right? Which, good for him, because Nikhil is a weaselly, cowardly, he's a genius, but he's a weasel.
Yeah.
And so for him to go, I mean, I'd like him to
go. Nikhil is very, like, see, Nikhil's smart, but I feel like he comes up with an idea and then he says to his people, okay, figure out how to do it now.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I feel like a lot of Nikhil's success comes on the backs of others.
Yes. Well, aren't all billionaires like that? Doesn't everybody?
There's a certain one that he reminds me of, but I wasn't going to name names.
Yeah. We won't mention any names of actual living humans, but I get what you mean, right? And his success comes from other people, including Mitski, who, is really the reason.
Let's just say I could picture Nikhil driving a Tesla.
Mm-hmm. He's the worst. Oh my God, he's the worst.
Anyway. Yeah. So, anything else with this half of the show?
No, I think this half is building up to something. Like, we might see. Yeah. So they're gonna.
Well, all right. We do have to say one thing. They get into the dead zone and are immediately knocked out of the sky by a tentacle.
Yes.
A giant tentacle.
Which could have maybe been predicted, but they're going up there, and the tentacle comes and boo, and one helicopter is immediately smashed, and the other helicopter is like crashing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think this is going to be a big mind-blowing thing for me to say. I'm pretty sure that Trevante and Mitski will survive, right?
I'll be surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
All right. So the other side of the story
is
the FBI Infinity side of the story.
The FBI, right?
So you said last week that you automatically, as soon as they went to the house, you assumed that somebody in that house was actually Infinitas and they were pretending that they weren't. So you were right.
Yeah.
I was wrong. But I want real quick. I want to show you. Hold on, I gotta find it.
All right, let me unshow my screen here.
Well, it's okay because I'll just take your screen.
You can present. You had to present on the screen, yeah.
Well, no, I uploaded it, so it's just easier. I just got to figure where the hell it went.
Oh, I moved it. You put up that picture of that little guy. Yeah, it's I moved him up here. He's the last picture before Strange New Worlds.
Oh, I see him. Yeah. I didn't know you can move pictures. That's why I just left it where. So
you can drag him around, yeah. This guy.
So, yes, that's the one who Clark was saying. I think it's he's like people think it's this guy. That's the guy that now for a quick second on TV. That's the one I was like. That's why I thought Aaron Stanford was going to be guest starring because tell me that doesn't look like Aaron Stanford.
It does, but it's not. So that's the guy who might be Infinitas.
Well, we know he's not Infinitas because when the fingerprints came back, they know that. What was her name?
Auntie.
Well, she has a name other than Auntie.
I know.
But yes, Auntie. Dorothea.
Dorothea, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this part of the episode really, I think, was mostly about Anisha. Like, here is the shot where we have, like, Jamila and nephew guy waiting in the back, that there's not a lot of shots of this, but what happens is that Anisha calls home and Clark and Jamila go to the FBI to try to get her released, right? And they're trying to help her out. And there's a lot of like, I really liked a lot of what happened in this section of the show, like where they're waiting in the waiting room and they work out this way to make a distraction and to get back there and talk to Anisha. I thought there was this was a pretty, I like the way this was a totally non-alien episode, and yet it was kind of really tense and exciting and interesting to see this part of it happen, right?
Yeah, I like this part of it. I especially like when Clark, says distract her and goes in the back because everything is such utter chaos at this place, at this FBI place, that it didn't surprise me. Like sometimes I watch in shows and people sneak into places, and it's like, how is nobody like, hey, who are you? This made perfect sense because everything is chaos. Everybody's running around like
it happens to be right when all the portals open and all the tentacles come out and the whole world is like freaking out.
Yeah. And not only that, like the FBI were just told to go pick up these people. You know what I mean? Like they don't even completely know what the hell is going on. I mean, the guys, the ones, I wish characters sometimes though were a little more forthcoming with explanations of why they're doing something or why they're where they are. Like the whole time they're questioning Anisha, it's like just tell them the whole story. Like tell them, hey, we were trying to do this because we're like just tell them. Instead of like
I'm a doctor. My husband's a teacher. I have no idea. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like if you
and then when and they're like, well, why Infinitas over the past couple of months, and she's like months, and they're like, can you explain that? And she's like, no. I'm like, how about you just say because my husband's an idiot.
He was a conspiracy theorist, and he was.
And he's been doing this, and he's been doing this longer than he told me he was.
Yeah.
It's just like I hate it when characters don't give enough information when they have enough information to maybe get the people they're trying to convince of something to actually believe them.
I mean, I do understand why Anisha would be afraid to really say anything at all, but she's the worst liar ever. She has been for 3 years, right? She's never been a good liar on the show. And luckily for Anisha, other people have other plans in this episode, right? Like, there's a whole thing going on around her, which is an effort to save Dorothea, to rescue, not to save her, to get her out of there, right?
Yeah, and I never believed for a second that those pills were. I knew they weren't what he said they were.
And were you like, oh, she's Infinitas? They got to get her out. She's Infinitas.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't think that, but I just knew the pills weren't what I thought. What he said they were. And then when I saw her passed out, I was like, oh, this is Prison Break.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, my aunt has a heart condition. Please give her the pills. I mean, that's a believable thing, except for we all saw them in the house last week, right? And so Dorothea ends up like having anaphylactic shock. Anisha is going to try to save her, and they all wind up in the ambulance in the back end of the episode.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh crap! You guys weren't supposed to get involved in this part of it."
And now they are, and it just so happens that it's Anisha, Clark, and who gets in? The three of them get in, right? It's Anisha, Clark, and the nephew. All get in there. And Jamila. Jamila's with them. Jamila gets in the back also. So
Golden Child says, unless Clark's been lying about who he is the whole time. You know, it's actually funny because there was a point during the episode that I started to wonder if Clark was more involved in the whole thing with Infinitas than he was letting on.
Oh, you think so?
I did start to wonder it for a minute, but then when they revealed Dorothea as Infinitas, I didn't feel that way anymore. Not that Clark was Infinitas, but I did feel like I did start wondering if he was more involved than just searching the web.
I mean, I was thinking since last week that it was Dorothea was Infinitas, only because they were like, who is he? Where is he? Do you know him? They were so he, him. I was like, oh, it's a woman for sure. And it's her.
And we'll see how that
hiding
plays
as a white boy online.
Huh?
So I think that's where this lets off. Does this end when they get in the ambulance?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in the ambulance, and our other friends are up in their crashing helicopter.
Yeah, they're not up in anything anymore. It's on the ground.
Yeah, but we didn't really see much of what's going to happen there. I thought it was a good episode. I do enjoy this show. I thought it was a pretty good episode for episode, 4 of 10. We're getting into it more deeply, and I thought it was pretty, I don't know, you felt it was set up. I get it. It's setting up more of Infinitas. It's setting up the mission. It's setting up the next thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the next couple episodes, I think are going to really be rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't like the episode. I did still like the episode, and I'm glad. I was actually kind of surprised and glad at the same time that it wasn't going to take forever to get Anisha out of the FBI, because when Clark was like, all right, we're going to get her, I was like, usually they spend an entire episode talking about it. So I'm glad that.
Do we want to watch 2 or 3 episodes of people locked up? No. Especially this season has been promised to be about finally bringing all of our characters together. Like Cervantes never met Anisha, right? He's never met Clark. He only knows Jamila, and he never met Mitski before this episode, right? I think he says in this episode, I've heard of you, right? Or something like that. They've never met before.
Yeah, he asked her who she is, and like he knows nothing about her. The only because she tells him that she briefly met Casper.
Casper, yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one that she's ever had contact with, because she was completely separate from everything else, because she was too busy sticking her hands in the
she says I met him only briefly, and it was only like up in the ship and whatever. Yeah. This episode is supposed to be about bringing them all together, so it's episode 4, so I would hope by 5 or 6 they might all be working together finally. Or maybe
I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, they're in the dead zone, Cervantes, and so I don't know exactly how they're all going to come together. They might be, I think it's more about them they're all familiar with each other now.
Yes, and because nobody who's outside the zone, like Jamila can't, Clark, none of them can communicate. Yeah. Like they're not like Casper, who could communicate to them. So, yeah. So,
but at least now that they're with Infinitas and they seem to know more about the signal, maybe we'll get some answers, and maybe that'll lead into Casper.
I know he's got to come back. He's got to come back. Whew. So, all right. Anybody got any comments on this show before we sign off? I don't think so, huh? Pretty quiet tonight, but that's cool. I guess. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
All right. And what did Jamie want me to remind everybody? Something about tomorrow night.
So tomorrow night is Alien Earth. I think there will be a watch party at 10 o'clock on Discord. And then I think 11 o'clock here on StreamYard or on YouTube is our weekly recap and review deep dive, which will be me and Jamie and Scarlett and me. I'm going to guess with those guys tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. And then I don't know what else is happening this week. They already did Wednesday, I think. That's the big thing. Tomorrow night, Alien Earth. That's all I know. That's my
Jamie will fill in the rest. Jamie will fill in the rest then.
Yep. So check Jamie's Discord, really. Check a Discord on SciFi Vision. She's got a full schedule that she posts all the time. And you can check out other stuff. And I know that also Sunday night we do Daryl Dixon, Walking Dead. But tomorrow's the second to last episode of Alien Earth. And AJ, it's actually really good. I know it's not your thing.
Yeah, it's not that I doubt that it's good or anything, and I'm sure I'd probably like it if I watched it. I just don't care. I'm just over that whole.
Maybe in like 4 or 5 years when you got nothing to watch, maybe you'll check it out. But right?
Yeah, I mean, it only took me, most of my life before I started watching Doctor Who. So
yeah, so that's our tomorrow night thing. So join us, everybody. And in the meantime, thanks. Great show.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Catch us next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.